Just think about it. In America, $15 disappear in the blink of an eye. A Starbucks coffee, a movie ticket, or half a tank of gas, and it's all gone. But somewhere else in the world, with that same $15, you can have a whole apartment to live in, 3 full meals, internet to video call your family, transportation to get around the city, and still have enough left to drink a beer while watching the sunset by the lake. Sounds impossible, doesn't it? But it is the truth that thousands of Americans have discovered, and some have dared to leave their homeland to start their retirement over in these unexpected paradises. The problem is, such places are slowly disappearing. Rents are rising, visas are tightening, and the chance to live freely on just $15 a day may not last much longer. The question is, will you continue to trap yourself in bills in America? Or are you ready to open the door to another world, where retirement means true freedom? Today, I will take you to those 5 amazing countries. The last one will surprise you. You will ask yourself why you didn't come sooner. Dream it. Pack it. Go. Sri Lanka, the tropical rooftop for souls who want to remix their lives. I came to Kandy. This city lies in the center of Sri Lanka, hidden among green tea hills and ancient temples, just a 3-hour train ride from the capital Colombo. This is truly the cultural heart of the island nation, where retired Americans can find peace, a cool climate, and a lifestyle so simple it's almost unbelievable. Every morning, when you open your eyes in the mist of the highlands, you see a lush green valley pouring straight into your soul like a steaming cup of Ceylon tea. Retired Americans, long used to worrying every month about rent, medical bills, and skyrocketing utilities, will be surprised to discover, here, with just $15 a day, you not only have enough to live, but to live freely, to truly live. In New York, $15 is barely enough for a bland cocktail in a crowded bar. A whole day in Kandy costs only about $14, covering housing, food, utilities, and basic transportation. With the same amount, you can fill up on a colorful curry plate, ride a tuk-tuk around the old town, pay your internet bill, and still have enough left for a sweet milk tea. Renting a 1-bedroom apartment here costs only about $200 to $400 a month, less than what you pay just for car insurance in the U.S. Electricity, water, and internet are laughably cheap, under $50 for all the basics. If you know how to cook, your monthly food budget won't exceed a few $100s, and every trip to the market feels like stepping into a tropical feast. Golden ripe mangoes, sugary sweet bananas, and lush green vegetables so cheap they make you laugh. And then there's the visa, a nightmare for many expats, which turns into a plus here. An electronic tourist visa costs just a few $dozen, with extensions up to half a year. If you want to stay long-term, the Dream Home program is like a golden ticket for retirees. Simply prove an income of $1,500 per month and a deposit, and you immediately get a 2-year visa, renewable as easily as sipping a cup of tea. And if you're still working online, Sri Lanka has just launched a brand new Nomad visa, designed for the laptop generation, requiring only stable income. The government of Sri Lanka always emphasizes the importance of providing proper healthcare services for all citizens in the country. Therefore, tourists, migrants, and even foreigners can go to public hospitals and receive free medical support. In the U.S., a single doctor's visit can wipe out $200, $300. But here, private hospitals charge only $20, $30 for professional service, with doctors fluent in English, many trained in the West. Many expats still choose to buy international insurance. But even when paying out of pocket, bills in Sri Lanka feel as light as a highland breeze. Speaking of safety, Sri Lanka is not an absolute paradise, but it is far from a risky land. Violent crime is rare. People are gentle and often smile at you. Only small things need avoiding: pickpockets at markets, sudden demonstrations, or unreliable taxis. But put it on the scale. In Los Angeles, you need 3 locks on your door to sleep peacefully, while in Kandy, just remembering to close the gate and keep an eye on your wallet is enough. But Kandy is not just cheap and easy to live in. It is also a vivid picture of nature. The Sinharaja Rainforest, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, where you can hear 95% of the island's native birds sing every morning. A short ride takes you to Marissa to watch whales leap in the ocean, or to Yala National Park to see wild elephants stride right before your eyes. The climate is pleasant, the highlands much cooler than the coast, making Americans used to New England autumns feel at home. Sri Lankans are famously hospitable to the point where it's hard to feel lonely. Sometimes you only intend to buy a bunch of vegetables at the market, but end up invited home for dinner. Expat groups may be small, but they are warm. A yoga class by the lake, an international women's group, or a surfing community on the coast. English is widely spoken, making it easy to integrate. But if you pick up a few Sinhala phrases, you'll find emotional doors open even wider. In Kandy, there is Robert, 68, once a truck driver in Ohio. In retirement, he couldn't stand the constant worry of paying for medicine and electricity bills. One day, he tried moving to Sri Lanka, renting a small apartment on the hill with a balcony overlooking the tea valley. Every morning, he walks down to the market to buy fresh fish for less than $3, and in the afternoon sips Ceylon tea at a lakeside cafe for the price of a soda back home. He says, "In my hometown, I felt myself growing older every day. In Kandy, I feel younger every morning." Of course, no place is perfect. The streets of Colombo or Kandy sometimes get so congested that you just want to scream, "Where's my tuk-tuk highway?" The infrastructure is still weak. Power outages happen from time to time, and during the rainy season, you may have to learn patience. The air in densely populated cities is also not as clean as you dream. Do you dare to let go of those thick bills to hold a trembling tea leaf in the wind? For Americans looking for a place to retire, Kandy is truly the chance to remix your life inside a tropical teapot, where you can live sufficiently, live beautifully, and truly live. And believe me, if you hesitate too long, by the time you return, prices may have risen, visas may have become tougher, and that wooden chair on the porch overlooking the valley may already have someone else sitting in it. So, do you have the courage to step out of the old cycle and come to Kandy right now? Comment everything you know. Point out to me where I am wrong. I am grateful to you for that. 4. Georgia. The Caucasus balcony overlooking Europe and touching Asia. If Kandy is a teapot that remixes life, then Tbilisi, the capital of Georgia, is like a glass of deep red Saperavi wine, bold, warm, and with a hint of rebellion. Lying at the crossroads of East and West, where you only need to cross a bridge to see history and modernity woven together, Tbilisi poses a tough question for retired Americans. Will you keep paying $1,500 rent in New Jersey, or give it all up to live a full month on just $600 in an ancient European city you've probably never heard of? In Tbilisi, the modest cost of living falls between $15 and $23 a day, still much cheaper than a dinner out in the US. Imagine a small, cozy apartment in the suburbs of Tbilisi, windows opening to the majestic Caucasus Mountains, for just $450 a month. Utilities like electricity, water, and gas fit neatly into 70 high-speed fiber internet for only $18 in the US. stars that might barely cover a week of Starbucks. Food here feels like a joke. A kilo of apples for just 60 cents. A loaf of bread for under $1 that lasts the whole day. Eating out? You can fill up for $4 or $5, and if you spoil yourself at a fancy restaurant, a full feast for two costs only $40. Public transport? A bus ticket is 35 cents, a monthly pass under $20, and a short taxi ride costs less than the tip you once left in New York. So why do so many Americans still think Europe means expensive when there's a hidden Europe cheaper than the gas bill back home? What makes Georgia special for Americans is its generously unbelievable visa policy. You can stay here for a whole year without a visa, and afterward just step across the border and return to reset another fresh 12 months. In the U.S., immigration procedures are often so complicated that you get frustrated. But here, the government practically says, just come, just live, as long as you like. If you want something more long-term, after only 6 years of continuous residence, you can apply for permanent residency, without having to buy property or invest hundreds of thousands of dollars like in many other countries. Healthcare is also a point that reassures expats. Private hospitals in Tbilisi or Batumi are considered on par with European standards, with friendly service, English-speaking doctors, and costs only 20–30% of what you would pay in the U.S. A checkup at an international hospital is just $30–40, while the same service in Florida can swallow up $200. Retired Americans here often choose to buy private insurance, but even when paying out of pocket, they realize that medical bills no longer haunt them. As for safety, Georgia is one of the rare countries that the U.S. State Department rates at the level of normal precautions, meaning you hardly need to worry about anything except for the two conflict regions of Abkhazia and South Ossetia. Tbilisi, Batumi, or Kutaisi are peaceful, with serious crime extremely rare. Georgians are also famously hospitable, to the point where they have a saying, "Every guest is a gift from God." If in New York you avoid strangers' eyes on the subway, in Tbilisi you'll have to get used to people inviting you home for dinner after just a short chat in a cafe. But don't think Georgia is only cheap and safe. It is also a natural paradise, from the sunny Black Sea of Batumi to the hot, dry valleys of Tbilisi, to the snow-covered Caucasus peaks year-round. You can go skiing in Godauri in the morning, soak in Borhomi's mineral springs in the afternoon, and enjoy live music in an ancient wine cellar at night. One day in Georgia, and you'll experience 4 seasons as if the whole year was packed into 24 hours. The question is, are you willing to trade a dull retirement routine in the U.S. for a life of 4 seasons in one day like this? Of course, no place is perfect. The Georgian language, with its curving alphabet that looks like a secret code, can give you more of a headache than filing taxes in the U.S. But for many Americans who have moved here, those inconveniences are just a few grains of sand in a glass of wine, not enough to spoil the overall flavor. There's a small story. James, 62, a former IT engineer from Seattle, once feared that with his $1,800 monthly pension, he would have to live frugally in the U.S. But in Tbilisi, he rents an apartment for $500, spends comfortably under $200, and still has money left to travel around Europe a few times a year. He says, "In the U.S., I only calculated every bill. In Georgia, I calculate whether this week I should go to the mineral baths or try a new kind of wine." So yes, Georgia is not just a country. It is an escape. Cheap, beautiful, safe, and welcoming to those who dare to step forward. The hard question is, will you continue sitting in the U.S. paying $2,000 a month for a cramped apartment, or try a life where $600 gives you an entire city to explore? If you feel ready to trade bills for a glass of wine, hit like, comment, and subscribe so you won't miss the next destinations. Because who knows, your new retirement journey might be waiting right after this video. 3. Bhutan. The kingdom that measures happiness, not money. If Sri Lanka reminds you of a steaming teapot, then Bhutan, especially its capital Thimphu, is more like a half-closed Buddhist scripture, both mysterious and serene. This place does not promise luxury, but offers you another gift: absolute peace. But the hard question is, are you willing to leave behind Western comforts in exchange for a slow life, less convenient but full of tranquility, where everything is measured not by GDP, but by the gross national happiness index? In Thimphu, just $17 a day is enough. A compact 45 mm² apartment costs about $125 per month, which sounds cheap, but don't celebrate too soon, because average speed internet eats up $125 a month. Not to mention a simple dinner for two already costs $18. In the US, you may complain about high internet bills, but at least the speed is fast and stable. In Bhutan, you will learn patience, not only with the network signal, but with the pace of life as slow as a temple bell echoing. Bhutan is not for those who simply want to live cheaply. The cost is a bit higher, but it is for those truly seeking peace. The bigger issue than cost is the visa policy. In most countries, you can travel for a few months, apply for a retirement visa, or get a remote work visa. But Bhutan is different. To set foot here, you are required to purchase a package tour and pay $200 per day in Sustainable Development Fees, SDF. That figure is enough to make many people shake their heads, but it is also how Bhutan protects its identity and avoids mass tourism. To put it bluntly, unless you are a diplomat, work for an NGO, or marry a Bhutanese citizen, the chance of long-term living is almost zero. Bhutan is like a dream out of reach. Beautiful, safe, but also closed off and strict. Healthcare in Bhutan reflects the philosophy of enough. Citizens receive free treatment, but facilities are limited. Thimphu has only a few public hospitals and a single private clinic, mostly handling minor cases. For complex conditions, patients are usually referred to India or Thailand. Foreigners, if they want peace of mind, definitely need international insurance. So if you are used to modern healthcare in the US, you will find Bhutan rustic, even lacking. The paradox is, despite its limitations, Bhutan is one of the safest countries in the world. There is virtually no violent crime, no terrorism, no high caution advisories from diplomatic agencies. Walking at night, your only concern is hearing the wind through the pine trees, not police sirens. The only real worries are winding mountain roads prone to landslides, or long-distance buses speeding recklessly. But it is nature itself that makes Bhutan a promised land for the soul. 60% of its forests are protected by the Constitution, and more than half the country is designated as a conservation area. You may see Asian elephants, Bengal tigers, and even snow leopards in its national parks. In Thimphu, the climate is cool year-round, with winters dropping to 0 degrees Celsius, while lower valleys like Paro remain mild and pleasant. Imagine waking up each morning, opening your window, and instead of car horns, you are greeted by clouds draping the Himalayas. The expat community in Bhutan is very small. You will not find bustling Western neighborhoods like in Thailand or Bali. Instead, you may meet a few English teachers, some NGO professionals, or a handful of foreigners married to Bhutanese citizens. They live simply, integrated with the local community, where daily life revolves around temples, Buddhist festivals, and traditional values. Bhutanese people are gentle, compassionate, and often greet you with a smile. But you will also have to get used to the lack of large supermarkets, few entertainment options, and virtually no nightlife. The drawbacks of Bhutan are not few: difficult visas, slow internet, limited healthcare. This place is not for those seeking convenience, but for those seeking letting go. And here lies the big question. Will you dare to trade Western comfort for a life measured by happiness instead of bills? Or will you let Bhutan remain forever just a distant dream? If the story of Bhutan makes you curious and eager to explore more of these unusual lands, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because who knows, the next destination may be where you find your second home. 2. Laos, Vientiane, a leisurely rhythm by the Mekong. If Bhutan is like a scripture, then Vientiane is like a hammock swaying on a summer afternoon. This small capital by the Mekong River is not noisy, not rushed. It only whispers, "Slow down." And surprisingly, with only about $15 to $21 a day, you can live comfortably here. A one-bedroom apartment in the suburbs costs $400–600 per month, utilities $40, internet $18, food is unbelievably cheap. Half a kilo of chicken, $1, a cold beer, $1, a filling meal, just $5. If you are frugal, $450 per month is possible, but with $600 you can live much more comfortably. Visas in Laos are not easy for long-term stays. Tourists get only 30 days, with extensions up to 90 days before being forced to do a visa run to Thailand. Those who want to stay longer usually need to apply for a work or investment visa, a rather cumbersome process. The question is, are you willing to cross the border a few times just to keep living leisurely by the Mekong? Healthcare is basic. Public hospitals are lacking. Private hospitals are better, but still below international standards. Foreigners usually have to go to Thailand or Vietnam for serious illnesses. Therefore, international insurance is almost mandatory. In return, Laos is extremely safe. No terrorism, serious crime is rare. You only need to watch out for petty theft and strictly avoid fake alcohol containing methanol. Nature, meanwhile, is pristine and picture-perfect. From Kwangsi Waterfall in Luang Prabang, to the caves of Vang Vieng, to the turquoise Nam Ngum Lake. One evening by the river, watching the fiery red sunset, you'll understand why many expats call this place an outdoor monastery. Laotians are gentle, bowing to greet you with a smile. The expat community, though small, is close-knit, playing soccer, learning to cook, drinking beer on weekends. There are no dazzling shopping malls, but there are simple meals with neighbors, and sometimes that is the real wealth. Patrick, a former Florida police officer, once said, "In America, I hear car horns. Here I hear the river's breeze. To me, that is happiness." So what do you choose? Continue spinning in the American cycle, or let the slow rhythm of Laos pull you out of it? Like, comment, and subscribe to explore the next destination. Who knows? It may be the place where you find yourself. 1. Nicaragua, Granada, the city of lakes and volcanoes. Granada, located on the shore of the vast Lake Nicaragua at the foot of the Mombacho volcano, is one of the oldest colonial cities in the Americas, and also a place where more and more retired Americans are choosing to settle. With its warm, tropical climate year-round, bright red-tiled roofs, and old squares full of live music, Granada feels like an old film played in slow motion. The cost of living here is quite easy to breathe. $15 to $23 a day for a life ranging from simple to indulgent. A one-bedroom apartment in the city center costs around $400–500 per month, while in the suburbs it's only $250. Utilities may run from 120–150 due to cooling needs, with stable internet around $25–50. Food is surprisingly cheap. A street meal is only $3–5. A mid-range restaurant $8–15. Taxis within the city cost just $1–2. And if you want to pamper yourself, an hour of massage is only $30. An unthinkable figure compared to living costs in the U.S. The Nicaraguan government is also welcoming to retirees. The pensionado visa requires only $600 per month in pension, and the rentista visa is available for those with independent income from $750. Initially granted for 1 year, both can be renewed, and after a few years, you can apply for permanent residency. Compared to many countries that require hundreds of thousands of dollars in investment, this policy is truly easy. In return, the nature here is stunning. Lake Nicaragua stretches vast and wide. Volcanoes like Masaya still puff smoke, and the beaches of San Juan del Sur roar with lively waves. For expats, Grenada is not only affordable but also has a warm community. Kind, friendly locals, cafes, and international clubs full of opportunities to make friends. Mr. Beekchuk David, a retired American teacher, shared that with his small $200 pension, in the U.S., he could only afford a small rental and medicine. But in Grenada, he has an apartment with a balcony overlooking the lake, enjoys food to his heart's content, and still has money left for travel. He laughed and said, "In the U.S., I live to pay bills. Here, I live to enjoy sunsets." So what will you choose? A struggling retirement back home, or leisurely days watching the sun set over Lake Nicaragua? If your answer is sunsets, comment right below. You see, the world is vast and full of surprises. In the U.S., $15 is just a scratch in your wallet. But in these places, it is a whole day of living fully, with a roof over your head, a good meal, and nature reaching out to welcome you. These places are not only cheap, but they also open the door for you to truly live, slowly, safely, and happily. Will you continue counting every bill each month, or start counting every sunrise and sunset on a new land? Do you want your retirement to pass by in car horns and neon lights, or in the sound of waves, temple bells, and the friendly smiles of strangers? Leave a comment. If you could choose one place to start over with $15 a day, where would it be? And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell, because the next journey might just be the trip that changes your life.